Yeah, welcome, Josh, again to the No Excuses, No Bullshit podcast. How is it going?
Good, man. Been staying busy with the 9 to 5 family, and then just the constant, I don't want to call it a grind, but just the constant routine of
Yeah,
working out. Like at my age, it's become a necessity more than you know, more than something that I can kind of put off. So plus I enjoy it, so it works out.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's essential to
Yeah,
clear the chaos, I would say. And yeah,
it's a good way to put it.
I also enjoy it, and especially in the mornings, it just sets you up for the day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
we have some special topic for the listeners today. So I think we talked about training protocols. So this would be awesome if you give us some insights about your training protocols. Like, how does it look now, and how did it evolve over the years?
Okay, yeah. So I started lifting when I think I was like 12 years old. So I've been lifting for over 30 years. So um and I've done a lot. I've tried nonsense. I've tried the more traditional. Um but recently I've gotten to more um well I very recently I just switched to like 3 days a week,
Mhm.
um full body. And so I'm getting plenty of volume across all 3 of those days. Um, and a lot of what I'm doing now is tempo based. So I don't do, not to knock anyone that does deadlifts or any of that, but like I don't do any of like the ego lifting or any of that. So a lot of it is just lifting for longevity. But prior to that switch, I was doing more of a traditional upper body or upper lower split. Um, and so that was 4 days a week. And then part of the reason I switched to 3 days is just so I could, have more time to just do, get in hikes,
Mhm.
um, other forms of cardio, stuff like that. So, but on the off days, I'm doing 45 minutes of cardio, and you can't see it behind me right now. I mean, I got a treadmill behind me, so um, I'll do that, and then of course, lots of getting outside a lot. You do the usual 10,000 steps, um, not the 20,000 I know you were doing for a while there, but
Yeah, it was even I
was
think
it
like
40?
50. I think it was
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I tried how long I can stick to that one, but this was hell.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
50K steps. I was able to do it for 4 days, I think. And then I was like forced to reduce to 35, and I did this for another week, but then I was like, okay, like that's
yeah.
that's not good for your knees.
Yeah, it's that's a significant amount of steps. But yeah, and the one thing I wanted to make sure that I mentioned, um, because I brought this up, I was talking to my wife the other day about when I dropped, years back when I dropped a lot of weight and really, really got back in the swing of like, all right, taking care of myself. Um, so when I dropped the weight, you know, I told her I would have done two things different if I could go back. I would have stuck with one program the whole time because this is over 9 months, and I probably swapped programs like probably like 3 or 4 times, and then I would have taken creatine from the get go. I'd taken creatine plenty over the years, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't taking it. So, like, I haven't pinned on my Twitter profile, but like that before and after, like I was lean. I was probably like 9-ish% body fat. Um, but my mom saw my picture once. She goes, Josh, you look kind of emaciated. I'm like, oh, thanks. Like you have any idea what it took to get to this point? But because yeah, you see people knocking on, oh, just be consistent, bro. And put like that, yeah, if you say it without context, you could knock it. But there's when you're talking specifically about like training protocols, I mean, yeah, you want to pick a program that works for you, and then that allows you to achieve progressive overload. Now, if you're going to the gym every day and you're doing the same exercises, lifting the same exact amount of weights, then you're gonna maybe get to a
Hey,
point and then just gonna plateau, right?
yeah, definitely.
Uh,
And
yeah,
I think everything changed for me because I was also working out for years already, and nothing changed really. Like also with my calisthenic skills, until that point where I said like, okay, today I go to the gym and I'm gonna smash it. I'm gonna smash this body part. Like I don't care if I stick 100% to this plan I have for today, but when I'm going out of that gym, I want to have pain.
yeah,
I want to feel my muscles.
yeah,
That's the only mission I have when I go in there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
of course, then I started to have problems with recovery because I continued to work out the same amount of times throughout the week, but the intensity way different,
yeah.
And my issue was that I didn't reduce the amount, like the amount of times I go to the to go to the gym,
Mm.
but with a way higher intensity. So especially now I take more care of the recovery.
Yeah, that's a good point because one of the things that I also learned the importance of, because of course when I was in my 20s and early 30s,
Mm,
man, it was the usual, drinking, not sleeping enough. Um, and then I realized quickly, like when I dropped all that weight, I was getting 7 to 8 hours every single night without question. And now, I can see now in my 40s, um, if I'm getting, I usually get between like 6 and 7 now,
mm.
even though I know all the gurus say I need more, but like,
Yeah.
I use, I use one of the aura rings.
Mm,
And so, I make sure the sleep environment is right, cool room.
mhm.
I have one of the best things I've gotten is like a white noise machine. That thing is that thing drowns out. Now, if my house gets robbed, it's probably not a good idea, but uh, but yeah, recovery is it goes against the whole, oh, you got to grind, you got to do
Mm,
this, and the reality is, like in the gym, there's people in the gym that are doing way more volume than they need to actually grow, doing way too many sets. And like, so for instance, most exercises I do, I have two warm-up sets
mhm.
and then two working sets and then a max set. um and I do that with just about every exercise. And then also, to the point about rest, I'm resting 1.5 to 2 minutes between every set. And I got a timer. I use the app Train Heroic.
Mhm.
So between every set and just do that. And so, yeah, like I said, bringing it back around. I mean, rest between sets important, and then rest for recovery. Is also rest for recovery is critical. So.
How many days do you think you should take off between workouts, or also body parts? Like because I was thinking about implementing deload
Yeah,
weeks, so getting to a 70% of my max,
yeah.
and then maybe after the deload week another 3 days of like just rest. Because I really have an issue with the recovery at the moment.
Yeah,
I mean, I take days off between the workouts. So, for example, Monday workout, Tuesday off, only flexibility things or active recovery, and then Wednesday again workout. And I'm also thinking about maybe not going for 1 week cycles, but maybe instead I go for a 10-day cycle and also switch the exercises a bit. So I could do on Monday back and also
mm,
Friday back, but the exercises for on Friday are different ones, but also target the back. So
yeah.
I'm currently thinking about doing some shifts there.
So I found that that's very that's very personal. And like for me, I mean, I work out I lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and
Mhm.
then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, um, I'm doing cardio, or like my wife and I, we've been going on a lot of hikes. And so, I like to do something every day. Now, I know I was messaging you a couple of weeks ago, like, I got my lower back is
Mhm.
not great. And I don't know if it was arthritis. I don't know what it was, but it was for about a month. It was not like, Mitch, I'm talking like bending down to tie my shoes was a problem, right? And so, but even with that, I was still, my ass was still in the gym. And so now
Yeah.
I modified accordingly, right? Like if I was doing like barbell rows, for instance, I was not loading up. And, a lot of the exercises that I do too, they're high stability. So
Mhm.
like when I do barbell rows, I use the Smith machine. So I'm
Mhm.
not getting all that, additional movement if I'm just using, like Olympic style barbell. But I would say in general, if you have like a legitimate injury, obviously, then it's probably not smart to keep lifting. Like don't be an idiot like me. Like like
Yeah, well,
I
I,
yeah
I no, I totally get it. Like
yeah
yesterday I have been at the gym and I have some issue with the shoulder now. I have no idea where it's coming from, honestly. Like I think because it's if I'm doing this movement, like
yeah
the like lateral raises,
yeah
like it's on the top here, and I'm not sure if it's truly the shoulder or it's coming from the back, from the shoulder blades there. So
yeah yeah
I'm doing everything with infrared, with fascia rolls and
yeah
massage gun, everything. I try everything. And yesterday I've been at the gym and I was okay. No back. Okay, it's back day, but no back. I only do
yeah
the leg exercises. And I was in there and I was like, I can't do this. I
yeah
can't do this. I need to hit the back too. And
yeah
so now I have the choice either I stay at home and only do active recovery, because if I'm going to the gym, I know that I'm gonna hit the weights. Like no doubt
yeah
about that.
yeah
And
yeah
so yeah, I'm not sure. Like it's not that kind of a pain that you cannot do the things,
yeah
but it's something's wrong. That's the issue.
yeah. I mean, and then another thing I'll do too is I'll modify the weights, and the other thing I wanted to touch on that you mentioned is with like deload weeks.
Mhm.
You know, I don't take them anymore. Like when I start a new cycle in my program, we usually have like we have an acclimation phase, and
Mhm.
then just get a feel for the weights, and then just over time, I'll send you a screenshot of the start to finish of like a cycle, and then you could see just that steady rise up. And so in a sense, like the deload week that I take is really just the beginning of a new
Yeah.
mesocycle. So and that's worked well for me. But over the years of lifting, with all the dumb stuff that I've done and the stuff that I found is effective, if there's anything that's translated across everything, all the programs, it's the simple stuff, right? It's not
Mhm.
some exotic, Bosu ball, balance. I don't, I keep things stable. I focus on tempo. And
Mhm.
then, and obviously if something hurts, then I don't, I either modify or I just straight up don't do it. But kind of to your point, I make sure that I hit every body part. And that's, I know some people knock full body, but
Mhm.
full body done correctly can be excellent. You don't have to do like the 4-day upper lower split or the traditional bro split, right?
Mhm.
You got to figure out what works for you. And that's probably, if there's one piece of advice like I give to anyone, like a novice lifter, I mean, you have to do what works for you, not what a pro bodybuilder does.
Yeah.
Like you have to do what is appropriate for your level of expertise when it comes to lifting. So
Yeah, and also, I mean, over time, you need to find out. You gotta find out your the best that works for you.
Yeah,
I'm also currently doing push pull at the
yeah,
moment, and yeah, I'm gonna see maybe push pull, but as I said, the different pull on Monday and the different pull on Friday, so I hit different parts of the back,
yeah,
for example.
yeah.
That's just one idea, and maybe like back to the protocols and starting a new program. Like, how often did you switch your program or protocol, so to
Yeah.
speak?
So right now, I switch like every 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, 2 months. And previously I had been kind of going on, let me either, go through this for 3 months and then switch things up. And to your point, right, you want to make sure, like, if you're doing push pull, you're not doing like lat pull downs both back days, right? Oh, unless of course you're doing like some sort of variation. But that's I think is the most important part is, that you're making sure every body part is getting the appropriate amount of work. And so,
Mm-hmm.
in a good indicator of when, it might be time to switch is if you plateau, right? Um, or straight up, like if you don't like the exercise, then look, don't, it's kind of like a book. If you're reading a book and you don't like it, you are not obligated to finish the book, right? So if
Yes,
you're doing, yeah,
definitely.
yeah, if you're doing an exercise and for whatever reason, like it's just not working for you, then you either switch it out. You more often than not, there are so many exercise substitutions. You
Mhm.
can find something that works for you, and that's what it's all about, right? Because you know you've been working out long enough to know, like, this is not it's not supposed to be unpleasant. And so,
Yeah.
now don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean it's supposed to be just like a leisurely walk in the park. But I go to the gym because I love it. Like I
Yeah, me
truly,
too. Me too.
yeah. And what better way you can there are not too many things where you can see like that steady increase,
Mm.
that improvement. It's like, oh wow, look, week 1 I was here, and then week 7, I added, however much weight. It's tangible progress, right? So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, that to me is what it's all about, man. It's all a large experiment, and you have to be flexible,
Mm.
and you have to adapt to whatever your situation is, right? Like if you're trying some stuff, don't like an exercise, find a sub, find something that hits that same body part. And you can find it. The internet is fantastic for that, right? So,
Yeah,
and then a lot of these apps too, like,
definitely.
a lot of these apps have like substitutions that are
Mm.
like, I forget the one that I'll have to look up the one that I used previously, but you could, like, if you hit the exercise, it would show you like 5 subs and just like that. So, but yeah, it's really, when you switch
Mhm.
kind of comes down to what you're working towards. But I would say in general, like 2 to 3 month, cycles are I think that will work for most people.
Yeah, I think what I will also try out to go for such a protocol now. I'm gonna set up a new one, I think, like with different pull and push days
Yeah,
and try it out. And I think I need to give it a chance at least for one circle or
yeah,
for one like 1, 2, 3 months. And then I think you
yeah,
can see. I think it's not good to switch up too often, but I'm still trying to find, to find that protocol that works best for me, with enough intensity and enough grind feeling, like,
yeah,
and at the same time being able to recover, like as we
yeah,
said, recovery is very important. And
yeah,
so
for sure.
in terms of recovery, we have talked about doing some steps and stuff like this is also
Yeah.
active recovery, walking. But have you tried out something like cold exposure, sauna, or something like this also?
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you, like, I cannot stand cold exposure. Like where I live,
Mm,
like, okay, I get it. You know, if you had, like, when I came up, when you had an injury, what was it? It was like rest, elevation,
mm,
compression, and ice. Or I think it was like rice, rest, ice, compression, elevation, something like that.
yeah.
Um, but listen, you know me, you know how much I love discipline, right? And I just feel like the cold exposure has gotten to a point where it's almost like a social media flex. And
Yeah.
in term, because I don't, and for the sauna, like, if I had to go one way, it would be the sauna. Um, just because, you know, I've always been pretty flexible. But I think for where I'm at now, I get more benefit from my muscles being a little bit more pliable.
Mm,
But overall, I don't do either of them. You know, no lie, I walk a lot.
mhm.
I drink a ton of water, and
Good.
um and I meditate. Like, to me, you know, my wife gets on me, Josh, you don't stretch enough. I'm super flexible, especially for, you know, like, I'm 5'10",
Mhm.
like 200 pounds, right? So, you know, I if you saw me, you wouldn't be like, oh, that dude can't grab his toes standing up. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
freaking flexible, man. So, um,
Awesome.
yeah. So for me, you know, recovery is another one of those things. It's very personal. Like, my wife loves the sauna, and, you know, okay, all right, babe, that's what you want to do, cool. But I'm gonna spend my time, you know, I like to lift, I like to do cardio, I like to go on walks. And so to me, that's that's how I get more value out of those things
Mhm.
than, you know, and plus it gets cold as shit here. So, like, if I want cold exposure, I'll go for a walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
man. Yeah,
it's
totally
not
get
like
it.
I don't need to strip down in my shorts. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Now,
Mm,
look, if people think they get some sort of, you know, mental fortitude out of them, by all means, do them. You know what I mean? But, like, for me, I don't. I think the gains that people think they get from them, especially for like ice baths and stuff like that, I think those are, you know, I I don't I don't think those have the benefit, especially for like recovery, that people think they do. And I know there's a study out there. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. But it basically says straight up, like, all these ice baths, like, are not good for muscle gain, essentially. So,
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
fact. That's a
yeah,
fact. Yeah, I also heard it in the Andrew Huberman podcast.
yeah,
But so they recommend to do it, I think at least 7 to 8 hours after the workout. Then it's fine, but not right after. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, for me, I'm doing the ice baths for the mental game.
yeah,
Honestly, like it's not fun. It's not
yeah,
fun to hop in the ice bath in the
true,
morning, and
yeah.
I don't enjoy it most of the times. But it's just to beat that, that little voice every time it pops up and says like, "Hey, that's cold. I don't want to get in there." And yeah, that's just a mental game, I think. And if I can take some gains from the or
Amen.
some
Yeah.
recovery advantages, fine. But I also think it's a social media thing.
And,
Like,
and I will say, like, to your point, and I actually wrote about this in my last newsletter, like developing discipline, like, it's not about doing some hardcore thing, right? It's pick a simple thing,
yeah,
pick a time you're going to do said thing, make sure you have some method of, like, of recording the information, and
mm.
then if you need a reminder, and then just do that every day, whether
Show
it's an
up,
ice bath,
show
yeah,
up every
ice
day.
bath, drink a glass of water, go
Yeah,
walk for 5 minutes, and then that's one of those things. It's like progressive overload for discipline, because
yeah.
essentially, for like the ice bath, you can go for like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, so on and so forth, right? So, like, I totally get where you're coming from, and in terms of value, I mean, that's huge, because you know just as well as I do that people actively avoid doing hard things, whatever their hard thing is.
Yeah.
Um, and then that's why they're not disciplined. And without that, good luck doing a lot of other things, right? It becomes very hard.
Doing the real hard stuff then. Yeah.
That's right.
If you can't
Yeah.
do something easy for some time and show up every day, the hard things will be even harder.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's fact. Fact, man.
Yeah, Josh, it was another awesome call. Like, as always, I think tons of value in there. And I think a lot of the listeners will benefit from it. And I think we should do this more regularly in the future. Like maybe we can do another call in a few weeks
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, for sure, man.
pick another
I'm trying to
topic.
get I'm trying to reach friend of the pod status, you know?
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I wish you a nice rest of the weekend and hope to see you soon, man. Take
Likewise,
care.
Mitch. Good talking to you, man.
Bye.